Hello everybody, it's me again. Um, this is the book haul I've been promising for like forever. We've had a really rough couple weeks. My dad went into the hospital the Thursday night before my birthday. No, actually it was a Saturday night before my birthday, so on the 9th. He fell on Thursday, and then he didn't do very well on Friday, and then his breathing sounded bad on Saturday, so I called the squad and they took him to the ER. He was in the hospital until the following Thursday when they transferred him to a nursing home, and then my brother came down, arrived on Saturday, and within 15 minutes of my brother arriving, we had a phone call from the nursing home saying, "Your dad's not doing well, you might want to come and say goodbye." And we did, and before we even left the parking lot, he passed away. So he died on the 16th. It's been a week. It's been tough. We've been trying to do some repairs around the house and get stuff cleaned up, and I'm cleaning things out. Stuff I was doing before all this happened. Now it's just more of it. So it's been rough, and I'm finally to the point where I think I'm ready to do a couple videos. I'm just trying to keep myself from hitting bottom, you know? It's hard. I have been his caretaker for quite some time now, and I don't know what to do with myself. It's just my son and I in the house now, and it's so quiet. It's driving me nuts. My son stays in his room most of the time doing video games and playing on YouTube and stuff like that. And, well, I've gone back to Facebook. I hadn't been on Facebook for quite a while, and I've kind of gotten back into doing that. And I'm not reading right now. I have kind of hit a wall. The last book I listened to, I couldn't tell you what it was about. I absolutely cannot tell you what it was about. And that was Shakespeare for Squirrels by Christopher Moore. And I really love his writing. Couldn't tell you the first thing about the book other than it was based on A Midsummer Night's Dream, and the fairies turned into squirrels during the day. Beyond that, I couldn't tell you what happens in the book. I'm gonna have to try again at another time when I can actually focus. Right now, reading's not happening. But I do have some books from before all this stuff started happening. From a couple different trips to the little free library and a couple from the dollar store, from Dollar Tree. So I'm going to do that. We'll see how long the video is. I might do a little taste test of a snack that I found today at Dollar General I hadn't seen before. I don't know how new it is or anything. I've had other snacks from the company, but not this particular one. This is the first time I've seen it. So we might do that at the end. Let me do the books I bought first. There's only 3 of them. And then there's a stack that I got from the little free library from 2 or 3 different times going. They just made a pile, and I'm not sure how many of these are new and haven't been hauled before. But at this point, it doesn't really matter. I probably have duplicates of some of them anyway, because I keep bringing them in and they don't seem to be going back out. At some point, I will be finally getting my bookshelves set up. I keep saying that. I bought 3 sets of bookshelves. One got built and it's full of everything but books, pretty much. I have a row of books on the top of the bookshelf, but on the actual shelves, there's only a couple that are shoved in here and there between other things. That's one reason why we're cleaning stuff out and getting rid of stuff. But I want to I'm going to transition into the room that was my dad's at some point. And I have a wall that I can put a couple bookshelves along. So hopefully that'll happen soon. And I can start going through the piles of books I've got. Start repurposing bins of books. Put the books on the shelves and use the bins for other stuff. That'd be nice. But we'll see. Anyway, back to the books. This first one is called The Christmas Angel by Jane Moss. There we go. Now you can see it. It's kind of shiny. The letters are that foily stuff, so it's kind of shiny. It's apparently a Hallmark Channel holiday movie, so I will have to see if I can track that down at some point. It's sure to delight fans of Debbie Maycomer and Richard Paul Evans. So I love Richard Paul Evans stuff, and I like the Mrs. Miracle books by Debbie Maycomer, so I ought to like this one pretty well, I think. It says, is that a spider or a cricket? Some kind of black bug just crawled across the floor. It's either a spider or a cricket. I don't know. It was big enough it caught my attention. Anyway, back to this. In 1875, Owen Thomas, a poor Welsh coal miner, falls in love with the beautiful London actress Jessica Lavery. Lavery? Let's go with Lavery. He enchants her with the promise of the holidays they'll share after they marry. Owen carves her an angel to go on top of their tree, a token more meaningful to her than any engagement ring. When Jessica breaks off their romance, Owen, broken-hearted, brings the angel to America. There, she looks down over 5 generations, witnessing peace and war, triumphs and tragedies, reminding all who see her that Christmas is the time when families and sweethearts can come together. Laughter and goodwill can lighten even the heaviest burden, and magic fills the earth. This is a story of faith and love and the miracle that brought the angel home again. Blah, blah, blah. I can't even read out loud. See, this is why I'm not getting any reading done. But I do have a box of Christmas books that I will put that in with. So hopefully my reading in December will kind of focus on those. I have the early stories of Truman Capote. I was shocked to find this at the dollar store. It's a really nice little volume. It's got a foreword by Hilton Als. I don't know how you pronounce his name. Somewhere in here's actual stories. The foreword's really long. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 stories. So that sounds pretty good. I like Truman Capote. I particularly loved In Cold Blood. And then I read a story of his. It's more of a novella, I think. It was kind of a long story called Hand-Carved Coffins, which was really fantastic. And, the one about the rocking horse, where the kid predicts races by riding a rocking horse. Is it just called The Rocking Horse? I can't remember. I know a lot of literature books, like high school literature books, have that in it now. I didn't read it until I was in college because it showed up in one of my course books. But it was pretty good. I've read some other ones by him. Everything I've read by him, I've enjoyed. Breakfast at Tiffany's was good, although I preferred the movie because I just absolutely adore Audrey Hepburn. So, anyway. And then I have one called The First Family. It's by Michael Palmer. Well, sort of. It's actually written by his son Daniel because it was written and published after Michael Palmer died. But it's kind of related to Michael Palmer's work, if that makes sense. His son carrying on the tradition. I met Michael Palmer when I worked at a store called Media Play. I'm not sure how many of those stores are around anymore, if any. When I worked there were only 2 stores in our market area, and they decided we weren't making enough money, and they shut us down. So I was there less than a year before they closed the store, which is sad. But while I was there, Michael Palmer came in to do a book signing. Which book was that? Would have been the one that came out in 95, 96, somewhere in that range. I want to say 94. 95 is when it came out. Gotta see. 94, 95, 96. I definitely was working at Media Play 95 into 96, somewhere in that range. And he came in and he signed books, and my job was to sit at the table and help him. So that was pretty cool. We had nice conversations because unfortunately they didn't publicize that he was coming, other than putting a poster in the front of the store as you come in. And so unfortunately we didn't get a whole lot of people in for the book signing. So it was kind of neat getting to sit there and talk to him for the time he was there to sign. And he signed a book for me. And he said, "To Amy, my favorite kind of bookkeeper," and signed it. So that's really special. Anyway, this one, where does it talk about the book? Here we go. Set in the White House. White House is not an easy place to grow up, so when the president's son, Cam Hilliard, a 16-year-old chess champion, experiences extreme fatigue, moodiness, and uncharacteristic violent outbursts, doctors are quick to dismiss his troubles as teen angst. But Secret Service agent Karen Ray, whose job is to guard the president's family with her life, is convinced Cam's issues are serious enough for her to summon her physician ex-husband for a second opinion. So it's a medical thriller set in a political arena. Pretty interesting. Most of the Michael Palmer books are medical because he actually was a medical doctor. So when I do read medical thrillers, it's generally his. He said he went to school with Robin Cook. So if you like Robin Cook, you might enjoy his stuff. I can't really say I've read Robin Cook, so... Okay, now I have a stack of stuff. Actually, we'll divide it into two small stacks. There's a middle grade young adult and then adult. So let's do the adult ones first since they're in my hand. I have 3 different Dean Koontz ones. I don't read a lot of Dean Koontz. He's kind of hit or miss for me. When I was in high school, early college, somewhere in the 17 to 21 age range, I read a couple of his books, and one I really loved, and then the next one I really hated. So he's kind of hit or miss for me. And I don't know if it's the writing style or if I just picked up books that weren't great for me, like topic-wise. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to give him a try. I've recently been reading and her name just popped right out of my head, Jane something or other series. Can I get to my notebook? I'm having one of those kind of days. I just threw the books on the floor. Alright, let me grab my notebook. Maybe I can... Jane Hawk? Is that her name? Hawk? Yeah, the Jane Hawk series. I've read the first couple of that, and I've really liked those. They're the kind of thriller I enjoy, so... I think I prefer his thrillers more than his horror, maybe? I don't know. I don't really read a lot of horror, and when I do, it tends to be more classic horror, if that makes sense. Dracula, Frankenstein, Jekyll and Hyde, Haunting of Hill House, Jaws, The Exorcist, stuff like that. So, more modern, I guess you'd say modern. They're not really contemporary, but they're modern. I haven't read a whole lot of, so maybe that's the thing. I don't know. Okay, so I've got one called The Voice of the Night. And of course, the back is just a picture of him. One called Winter Moon, which I thought the cover was pretty. I like the moon on there. And it's got the sparkly silver. I don't know, can you see a better picture? Yeah, that's a little bit better. The clouds and the moon. I like that. And one called Fear Nothing, which again has the foily letters, so they're going to be hard to read. There, I got a good angle there. Couldn't tell you what they're about. Let's see. This one... Christopher Snow is different from all the other residents of Moonlight Bay. Different from anyone you've ever met. Christopher Snow has made his peace with a very rare genetic disorder that leaves him dangerously vulnerable to light. His life is filled with the fascinating rituals of one who must embrace the dark. He knows the night as no one else can, its mystery, its beauty, its terrors, and the eerie silken rhythms that seduce one into believing anything. Even freedom is possible. I like that line. Eerie silken rhythms. I like that. That's good. Till the night, Christopher Snow witnesses a series of disturbing incidents that sweep him into a violent mystery only he can solve. A mystery that will force him to rise above all fears and confront the many-layered secrets of Moonlight Bay and its strange inhabitants. A place, like all places, that looks a lot different after dark. Ooh. So that might be interesting. Kind of a spooky mystery. Yeah, maybe. Okay, Winter Moon. Winter Moon. In a lonely corner of Montana, Eduardo Fernandez, the father of McGarvey's murdered partner, witnesses a strange nocturnal sight. The stand of pines outside his house suddenly glows with eerie amber light, and Fernandez senses a watcher in the winter woods. Oh, okay. I just read you the middle of the thing. The way it's set up, I thought it was like 3 separate titles. Like I said, I'm just not functioning right now. But no, it's all the same stupid title, dividing it up into sections. So I read the middle section, or part of the middle section. In Los Angeles, a hot Hollywood director high on PCP turns a city street into a fiery apocalypse. 5 die. Heroic LAPD officer Jack McGarvey is badly wounded and lands in the hospital for months, uncertain he'll walk again. While he's out of commission, his wife and young son are left to defend themselves against both the criminals that control an increasingly violent city and the dead director's cult of fanatic fans. Then, in a lonely corner of Montana, Eduardo Fernandez, the father of McGarvey's murdered partner, witnesses a strange nocturnal sight. The stand of pines outside his house suddenly glows with eerie amber light, and Fernandez senses a watcher in the winter woods. As the seasons change, the very creatures of the forest seem in league with a mysterious presence. Fernandez is caught up in a series of chilling incidents that escalate toward a confrontation that could rob him of his sanity or his life, or both. As events careen out of control, the McGarvey family is drawn to Fernandez's Montana ranch. In that isolated place, they discover their destiny in a terrifying and fiercely suspenseful encounter with a hostile, utterly ruthless, and enigmatic enemy from which neither the living nor the dead are safe. I don't know. Not sure what to think about that one. Oh, this is another one that's... Okay, I guess that's the description for this book. No one could understand why Colin and Roy were best friends. Colin was so shy, Roy was so popular. Colin was nervous around girls, Roy was a ladies' man. Colin was fascinated by Roy, and Roy was fascinated by death. Then one day, Roy asked his timid friend, "You ever killed anything?" And from that moment on, the two were bound together in a game too terrifying to imagine and too irresistible to stop. Sounds like maybe Roy might be a bad influence. When was this one written? 1980. So this would have been written before I got into reading his stuff briefly. Like I said, I only read a handful of his books, and it was like one end of the spectrum to the other. Very few hit in the middle. Here's one by Iris Johansen. It's called Bonnie. I've read several Iris Johansen books. This is one of the Eve Duncan books. And I've read a few of those, and I'm reading them completely out of order. I pick it up, start reading, I'm like, oh, it's one of those. Oh, well, and I just read the book. I read them as standalones instead of as a series because of the way I've just been picking them up randomly. No big deal. Oh, okay, that's different. The truth has eluded her for years. Now, is she ready to face it? When Eve Duncan gave birth to her daughter, she experienced a love she never knew existed. Nothing would stand in the way of giving Bonnie a wonderful life, until the unthinkable happened and the 7-year-old vanished into thin air. Eve found herself in the throes of a nightmare from which there was no escape, but a new Eve emerged. A woman who would use her remarkable talent as a forensic sculptor to help others find closure in the face of tragedy. Now, with the help of her beloved Joe Quinn and CIA agent Catherine Ling, Eve has come closer than ever to the truth. But the deeper she digs, the more she realizes that Bonnie's father is a key player in solving this monstrous puzzle, and that Bonnie's disappearance was not as random as everyone always believed. Says don't miss the other novels in the series, and it shows a picture of one called Eve and one called Quinn. So I'm guessing maybe those two come before this one. Because I didn't know she had kids, so yeah. That was a surprise for me. Spoiler. Here's one called Blood Ties by Karen E. Taylor, author of Bitter Blood and Blood Secrets. Apparently it's part of a series called The Vampire Legacy. And apparently it didn't sell at somebody's garage sale because there's a 25-cent sticker on it. Hello, it's me again, Deirdre Griffin, vampire. When we last met, my lover, Detective Mitch Greer, had finally given in and become one of us. Well, maybe I shouldn't read the background or the back of the book if it's going to just tell me all the stuff that's happened in previous books. I won't need to read the earlier books. Because I can wait on this and try to find the other books. Copyright 1995. I'm sure there's used copies floating around somewhere. Random piece of paper. Shoot, I may have the earlier books somewhere. I'm guessing somebody got to page 25 and decided to, like, completely mess up the page. That's one of those things that bug me. I used to dog ear books. Now I try very hard not to. Well, sure, don't tell me what book in the series this is. I'm going to guess it's at least third, because it's got 2 other titles on the cover. But unlike most books, I don't see a page that lists other books by the same author. Zebra books are published by Kensington Publishing Corp. Okay. Weird. But there's a list of other vampire books published by Zebra, but none of them are by this author. And if you go to the back, where sometimes they list other books by the author, it's got about the author. Okay, Blood Ties is the 3rd installment in the Vampire Legacy series, which began with Blood Secrets and continued with Bitter Blood. Answered my question. I just had to read the author note. Or about the author. Currently working on the 4th book in the Vampire Legacy series, due out in October 96. So I'm going to guess that it's probably been published by now, since that was quite a while ago. And see, then there's like more lists of books by other authors. I find it very odd that, they didn't do a page of books by that same author. Man, my nose is itching like crazy. I had to take the trash out and the pollen got stirred up. It's been a couple days since we had rain, but I'm glad to have sunshine because now it's allowing me to do laundry. With a dryer that's been broken forever, I've been trying to find ways to dry clothes without taking them to the laundromat and having to spend a ton of money. So I've got a drying rack, which only... Speak. I have a drying rack, which only really helps if it's not raining, because our house holds the moisture so bad. And so if it's cold and damp, clothes don't dry. And then my brother, when he was here, the weekend my dad died, as a way, he was going to do it for me anyway, but as a way to work out his stress and anger and emotions over the whole thing with my dad, he spent the weekend outside working on building me a clothesline. So now I have a nice clothesline with 4 lines, and I can put stuff out, provided it's not raining. So I've been finally able to do decent laundry. Makes a big difference, you know? Especially if any of you have ever been in a situation where you don't have a way to dry clothes and you have to wait on days when it's not raining. You understand. Okay, so here's one by Rebecca York. It's called Ghost Moon. Kind of like that cover. Kind of a brownish gray and silver. I kind of like that. I guess maybe you'd call it sepia, but it's got a slightly metallic tinge to it, so it's more silvery. That makes sense, like a silver sepia. To protect one man, she must risk the vengeance of many. A freed slave from a parallel universe, Quinn has come to this world on a vital mission. But she's stopped in her tracks by the seductive attentions of a mysterious spirit. He's a ghost named Caleb Marshall, a werewolf who was supposedly murdered by the ancestors of her dearest friends. Interesting. Slaves, parallel universes, werewolves. When Caleb finds a way to take over a human body, Quinn can no longer resist her overwhelming desire, even though she's not sure she can trust him. But soon she discovers that they have a common enemy, and if she doesn't act fast, she may lose the man she's come to love, along with her life. Ghost werewolves, parallel universes. Not sure what to think about that one. Paranormal romantic suspense. We'll see. It might be alright. Might be good. Then again, maybe not. Only one way to find out. And then I picked up a Harlequin intrigue by Cassie Miles. It's called Footprints in the Snow. When I read Harlequins, I prefer the intrigues because sometimes they've got a pretty decent story. I like the suspense stories. Colorado Destiny. It was a powerful Rocky Mountain blizzard that caught scientist Shanna Parisi unawares and threw her into the arms of a mysterious man in uniform. Luke Rollins rescued her from danger, but it was the mesmerizing look in his eyes that captured her heart and forged their destiny. Luke knew bringing the beautiful Shanna home posed a threat to his secrets, but a foreign enemy was hot on their trail, and Shanna's snowy footprints were all they needed to track her down. Once entrenched in his world, Luke urged her to remain silent about what she saw, because the alternative could be deadly. Ooh. Ah. And of course, smut. So, although I find that a lot of times in the intrigue books, there's less sex, more story, less sex, more plot. I kind of like plot occasionally in a book. And if the intrigue is good, you don't miss the sex as much. If that makes sense. Because you're drawn into the story. You want to know what's going to happen. And when the sex does happen, is usually closer to the end of the book. And it makes more sense instead of, oh yeah, hi, I just met you, let's bang. I have a real issue with the insta-love stuff. Because, doesn't work for me. I want logical stuff. That's probably why I don't read a whole lot of romance. I tend to read, when I read romance, I read a lot of Susan Mallory. Which, if you remember from like a year ago, library book sale, I brought home a big bag of books that are all by her, like 30-some different titles. And I like her books because I wouldn't qualify them necessarily as straight romance. I call them chick lit or women's lit. Because there's more than just sex. There's like actual relationships. And I think the female relationships are as interesting as the male-female relationships. A lot of sisters and a lot of best friends kind of things. And I really enjoy those. And I think maybe because they're not just a straight, hi, I met you, let's go bang kind of thing. I don't know. Kind of interesting to think about. Okay, so now I have some young adult and middle grade. I would say pretty much all middle grade. This is probably, I don't know what this one is. I'm going to guess it's probably middle grade because it's Scholastic or Apple. Apple tends to be more middle grade. Okay, so we're going to start with a Nancy Drew mystery, The Haunted Showboat. This is, does it say, number 35 by Carolyn Keene, which, as you may know, Carolyn Keene is a group of people. When they started the Nancy Drew stories, the Hardy Boys had taken off so well, and the Hardy Boys were written by a group of people, and a lot of the same people wrote the Nancy Drew books, but they pulled in more females so they could have more of a female perspective. Blah, 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 blah. Not entirely sure what it's about because, of course, no blurb on the back. This was apparently a school book at one point. Federal Hawking School District, Title 4B. They got it stamped all over. But nothing telling what the book is actually about. Copyright 1957. Anyway, I have several Nancy Drew books. I don't have anywhere near a whole series. I probably had close to a whole series when I was a kid, and I have no idea where those books are. I don't know if they got sold or given away, or if they're in boxes in storage somewhere, which is highly possible. There's lots of boxes of books in storage in our family. But I'm slowly gathering them up and read them on occasion because I like a good story. And the older Nancy Drew books, I think, are better than the newer ones because the newer ones don't have the same nostalgic feel to them. They're just a different style. And I like the older ones a little bit better, but then that's what I grew up reading. So, yeah. Okay, this one is called The Hot and Cold Summer. This one is fairly thick for a middle grade, but it's probably a middle grade. Roy and Derek are best friends forever. At least that's what they think until they meet Bolivia. She's visiting next door all summer, and everyone wants the three of them to be buddies. But since she's a girl, Rory and Derek decide to ignore her completely. Except it's not so easy to ignore someone who has her own pet parrot and who likes to make snowballs out of ice cream. That sounds fun. Derek starts thinking Bolivia's the funniest, craziest kid he's ever met, but Rory still says three's a crowd. Is there room in their friendship for Bolivia, or is she about to break up a perfect team? Ooh. Sounds like boys learning about girls. Boys are discovering girls. Yeah, this has definitely got to be middle grade. I mean, the print is huge. You can't really see that because of the way the light's shining. Pretty big print. It's more than 150 pages, though. Come on. 158 pages. I don't know. I think it looks like a fun story. Look at the cover. Looks like they're having a good time. That'd be a fun summer read. I know Gavin Hetherington, I think that's how he says his name, otherwise known as How to Train Your Gavin here on YouTube, hosts Believe-a-thon. I think I called it Wonderthon before. That's wrong. It's Believe-a-thon. And one just ended. The Believe-a-thon 2 just ended. I think he's planning the third installment for November. He did it in November last year. This is the first one. And I think he's looking at November again, possibly. I would suggest checking out his channel and keeping an eye on that if you're interested in middle grade books especially. Because it's a fun little readathon thing. And I'm already looking at doing Newbery November, which I don't know if that's a thing, but I'm making it a thing for me. And if anybody wants to join in, you're more than welcome to. Essentially, you just read Newbery winning books or nominated Newbery winners and runner-ups. Speaking of which, yeah, this is a Newbery medal. Sarah Plain and Tall. I thought it was a bigger book than this. This is really tiny. Look how skinny that is. And it's big print. It's only 58 pages? Really? I thought for sure it was a bigger book. I'm surprised it's so small. I mean, has it got big print? I've read the story before. It's a decent story. I think Hallmark Channel may have made a movie of it. I think it was a Hallmark Hall of Fame movie. Maybe. Winner of Newbery Medal. Pretty much it's a man and his children. The man's looking for a new wife because his wife died or something. And he puts an ad in the paper, and she's basically a mail order bride. And that's how they get together, and their family becomes a family. And she takes care of the kids and learns to love the husband. And it's an awful lot of stuff to go on in 58 pages. This one, I think my niece will probably like. It's called The Mystery of Pony Hollow. Sarah Elgin isn't sure what she'll find when she goes exploring on her new pony one Saturday. She's eager to roam around her family's big new farm, especially the part called Pony Hollow, where beautiful ponies from Ireland were kept many years ago. The last thing Sarah expects to run into is a mystery, but then she discovers an abandoned stone cottage with a pony skeleton inside and hears the sound of frantic whinnying from a horse that just isn't there. Suddenly, no-nonsense Sarah Elgin, who doesn't even believe in fairy tales, finds herself thinking the unthinkable. There's a ghost horse in Pony Hollow, and she's got to find it. That might be interesting. Again, it's a fairly short book. Around the same as Sarah Plain and Tall, size-wise. 56, 57, 58, 59 pages. So yeah, just a hair, like half a page longer. And then there's the Bailey School Kids, Adventures of the Bailey School Kids, Monsters Don't Scuba Dive. This is number 14 in the series. I thought my niece might enjoy that as well. She's to the point, she's going into 4th grade? I'm a bad aunt, I can't remember. Going into 4th grade, I think. So she's into the chapter books and going into the middle grade stuff. She's reading on like a 5th grade level, so that's good. I want to encourage her to read. But this one looks fun. It's got some pictures drawn in it. Ooh, scary camp counselor, werewolfy looking dude. Maybe he's the monster that doesn't scuba dive? Kid with a Creatures of the Deep book. Anyway, I thought it looks cute. Again, big print, little book. The Amazing Days of Abby Hayes. Every Cloud Has a Silver Lining by Anne Mazer. Apparently this is #1 in a series, because it's got a 1 on the side. Spend the Day with Abby. Thursday, have you ever seen a silver lining in a cloud? No, I haven't either. Clouds are white, puffy things. Sometimes the sun makes them look reddish or gold, but never silver. Who came up with that stupid saying anyway? It's completely false. Abby Hayes is starting 5th grade. Her super sibs, the perfect older twins, and her genius little brother have already proved their Hayes worthiness. This is going to be Abby's year, and she's going to record every moment of it. So is this written like... Oh, it's written like a regular story, but every so often you get these little, like, notes. And this page looks like it's handwritten versus regular type. So that'll be interesting. I guess that means it's pseudo-epistolary. Again, I think my niece might enjoy it. 118 pages. And it's her age range, so I think that'll be good. And now I have True Tales of Animal Heroes. Who doesn't love an animal book? I love animal books. And it's got stories about a brave dog who rescued 2 kids from a burning house, 2 wild elk who saved a boy from freezing in the mountains, a courageous cat who fought off a deadly intruder, 2 dolphins who saved a girl from a terrifying shark attack, and much more. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have illustrations other than under the chapter headings. And it's the same on each chapter heading. I'd like to see pictures of the animals that they're talking about. Man, Troll, you missed out. Would have made it a better book if we had actual pictures. I like pictures. And then that brings me to Stuart Little by E.B. White. Thought I picked up a copy of Charlotte's Web as well. I'm sure I've got a couple copies of Charlotte's Web floating around, which actually won the Newbery, or wasn't a Newbery Honor book. It's got something to do with Newbery. Anyway, Stuart Little's about the mouse who's adopted into a human family, and pretty much how his family adapts to having a mouse as a child. The movie's cute. I'm pretty sure I've read the book too. I know I've read Charlotte's Web, and I love it, and I'm really looking forward to reading it again in November. I also want to rewatch the movie, the old animated movie, not the newer live-action movie, which is actually pretty old by now. But the old animated movie, I believe, came out in like 72, which is the year I was born. Yes, I'm old. Just turned 48. I'm old. I spent my birthday sitting in the hospital with my dad. My birthdays don't seem to go very well. 11 years ago, I spent my birthday... My family went to dinner. It was Mother's Day. And we came home and my mom dropped dead of a heart attack on the living room floor. Birthdays don't go well for me. But then this year, I sat there and Dad had no clue who I was. He didn't even seem to notice that I was there. I gotta hope that somewhere deep inside he knew I was there sitting with him. But anyway, I was talking about the movie. I love the animated Charlotte's Web, and I particularly like Templeton the Rat, who was voiced by Paul Lynde. If you don't know who that is, look him up. He's funny as all get out. The old Hollywood Squares, for the longest time, he was the center square, and he was so funny. I loved him as Templeton the Rat. And there's a song where they're at the fair. They're showing off Wilbur the pig. And Charlotte sends Templeton out to find a word for her to spin in her web, because Charlotte's a spider. That's why it's called Charlotte's Web. She spins the web. and he's out singing about being at the fair, it being a smorgasbord, orgasbord. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Anyway, I might actually have a copy of that movie here somewhere. Probably be easier to find if I can track it down on like Amazon Prime or something and watch it that way. Stream it. And then they did late 90s, maybe early 2000s. I'm not entirely sure when. They did a remake, but it was a live action remake. And I want to say that they did it because Babe the Pig was so popular and they wanted to ride the coattails or the pigtails of Babe the Pig and do a pig movie. I don't know. It was good, but I don't think it was as good as the cartoon one. But then again, that may be the whole nostalgia thing. I grew up with the cartoon, therefore I like it better. That seems to be a pattern. You know, nostalgia is a thing. Okay, so I'm at like 46 minutes on this video because I keep going off topic and rambling about random stuff. But there's been a lot of stuff going on the last couple weeks. I think I will do the snack thing in a different video. I don't know if I can get my son to wander down and try them out with me or not. I might just say screw it and do it myself. I was going to include Swedish fish because I found 2 different flavors that I hadn't seen before, but I ended up eating the one package completely and starting on the second package. So it's not like it'll be a new, let's see what these are like kind of thing, because they've already been eaten. But we are planning on doing a Sour Patch Kids taste testing thing because we found some, I think, weird stuff that is Sour Patch Kid related. One of them is the ice cream. We're finally gonna try it. I know it's been out a long time. Markiplier's already done a video on the ice cream, but we have found things that Markiplier has not done videos on yet. So if you're a Markiplier fan and you're interested in Sour Patch Kids, stay tuned. There will be a video coming. It will be the ice cream and I think 2 or 3 other items. One being a different flavor of Sour Patch Kids. And then 2 other things for sure. Unless we find something else while we're at the store tomorrow before we do the taste testing. Anyway, that's some stuff to look forward to, I guess, if you look forward to things. I'm trying to decide, would you guys want me to try to do a TBR? Because I don't normally do TBRs, because I never know what I want to read. But I was playing with the idea of using the Dungeons & Dragons dice. And I've got some really cool that look like blood splattered. I've got another set here too somewhere. Yeah. Then I've got this set, which are kind of iridescent, jewel-toned, rainbowy blues and purples and a little bit of pink in there. I found these on Wish. They were like at most $1 or $2 plus shipping. So I think like one set was like $3 total. They've got all kinds of sets of dice. If you're looking for dice for Dungeons & Dragons, that's a good place to get them if you have time to wait. They range in price from like free plus shipping to $10-15 depending on what you want. And there's a lot of really cool designs. So if you're into that, check out Wish. What else do I have sitting here that I can talk about? I have a pin of the Mystery Machine that I got off Wish. It was a free plus shipping, so I think it ended up costing like $2. I don't know where the rest of my pins are. I put them in a little box, and now I can't find the little box. I'll do a pin haul as soon as I can find them all. I'm waiting on some stuff to come in that hasn't come. But with all the shipping delays and stuff due to viruses and the fact that most of the things from Wish come from China, It may be a little while before I get everything, because the last set of stuff I ordered, the only things I've gotten are the 2 sets of dice and the Mystery Machine pin. So I'm waiting on some more pins to come in. And somewhere I've got a box that I've put other pins that recently came in from a previous Wish order. I don't know what I've done with them. I will look for them. I will find them. But right now, my brain is going... And I've been talking for close to an hour. Not making a whole lot of sense, I'm sure. But then, when do I ever make sense? I do have this bad habit of just rambling. And here I'm doing it again. Ramble, ramble, ramble. Let's see. Is there anything else I need to talk about real quick? Can't think of anything. I haven't gotten any notification about owl crates being shipped yet, so once the May owl crate comes in, I'll unbox that. Right now I'm looking for a job because I've been a caregiver for my dad for so long, I haven't actually worked outside the house. So if you know any leads of potential jobs that are in the Pomeroy, Ohio area, I might be wanting to go as far as Athens or Gallipolis, Ohio, maybe Ravenswood or Ripley, West Virginia. Charleston and Parkersburg are just a little too far because I'd just be spending anything I made on gas, so I gotta pay attention to that. Anything in that general area, or potentially a work-at-home situation, which would be really fantastic. That's where I am at now. We're definitely looking for something because the only source of income we had in the household went when my dad died. So yeah, money's tight right now. So May will likely be the last owl crate for a while. I need to remember to cancel. I might let June happen and then cancel. Can I justify it? Is it worth it? I don't make any money doing YouTube because I only have like 30-something subscribers. And, you know, if you don't have X number of subscribers and X amount of views and a certain amount of view time, you don't get monetized. So that's where we are with that. It's not going to happen anytime soon unless for some reason something goes viral and everybody suddenly subscribes and whatever. But I don't see that happening because I'm not that interesting. I'm just a person who talks about books and not in the most exciting, interesting way. So if you think I should do some sort of TBR, maybe I can use the Dungeons and Dragons dice to do that. Because everybody seems to be doing TBR games. So maybe I could put like a list of books and then roll a dice and say, oh, like maybe, I don't know, do I have a D20? Yeah, I could roll maybe the D20, have a list of 20 books, roll the D20 5, 10 times, I don't know, 5 times probably at this point would be a reasonable amount. And pull those particular books, definitely read those books for the month, and then whatever else floats my boat, so to speak. I do have one more library book to read, which I have on Audible. I'm going to read The Chain. Ow. By Adrian McKinty. I don't really know what it's about, which is fine. I don't need to know what it's about. It's a thriller. If you know what it's about and you liked it, don't tell me any spoilers, but say, hey, yeah, I liked it. It was a great book. Or, no, I hated it. It sucked. Or, yeah, it was okay. Don't really care one way or the other, like it or not. Just let me know if you've read it, what your opinion is. I'd kind of like to see what other people think. I haven't really heard much chatter about the chain. I think there might have been a little bit when it first came out, and came out in 2019, I think. They're saying it belongs in the elite company of world-class thrillers like Gone Girl and Silence of the Lambs. I haven't read Gone Girl. I wasn't thrilled with the movie. July 2019, so it's been out almost a year. Silence of the Lambs, that's my jam. Love the book. I've seen the movie at least 10 times, if not more. I saw it twice in the theater when it first came out. Awesome book. Definitely recommend Silence of the Lambs if you haven't read it and you like thrillers. The movie is excellent. Follows the book very closely. There are some things that they cut out, which makes sense. Like the stuff with Crawford's wife makes sense because she wasn't integral to the story. It was nice background for him, but since she wasn't like a major plot point, it was okay that they cut her out of the movie completely. Little things like that. And that's not spoilery either, because, you know, she's not important to the story. It just gives you a little insight into him. So anyway, I've blabbered on for a while now. It's almost an hour. This is going to be a while to upload. And if you've stuck around this long, bless your heart. Because I know I'm just rambling and not making a whole hell of a lot of sense right now. But then it is almost 1 a.m. and I've been through a whole lot in the last 2 weeks. My brain is mush. So anyway, goodbye for now. I will try to get some more videos up soon. Definitely be on the lookout for the Sour Patch Kids one. I'll crate whenever it gets shipped and whatever. And maybe some more life updates. I want to show this off just because I love it so much. I found, back at St. Patrick's Day, I was looking for some Bailey's Irish Cream, and I found these little minis. It was in a 3-pack, which is great, because I was going to make cupcakes. And I made the cupcakes. And I said, while I'm here at the store, at Kroger, which our Kroger in Athens has put in a liquor store in the middle. It used to be as you came in, then they moved it to the middle of the store. They had this thing about remodeling and then turning around and remodeling. They remodeled like 3 times in a row. I think they're still remodeling. They're always remodeling. Anyway, I thought, it's St. Patrick's Day. I want some Jameson. Isn't this cute, this tiny little bottle? Jameson is my thing. I love Jameson. On the shelf above it, I think, I found this adorable little Crystal Skull vodka bottle. I'm not much of a vodka drinker. I've had it mixed in stuff and it's been alright. It's just not my go-to drink. But then again, my first experience with it was cheap vodka, and let me tell you, don't drink cheap vodka. Get something good. Because cheap stuff is terrible. But then again, when you're talking alcohol, generally the cheap stuff is cheap. Tastes cheap. You know, it's not good. So hopefully that'll be good when I do decide to crack it open. If I decide to crack it open, I do have some cranberry black cherry in the refrigerator, which I think would mix really well with it, because vodka cranberry is a thing. So maybe I'll try that one of these nights. Anyway, it's been an hour. I've got to go. I will post again, hopefully not too terribly long from now. Like, share, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Ring the bell. Ding, 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 ding. There. Reference to Jacksepticeye. Those who watch understand. Okay. Bye-bye. I see you next time.